once again to the imaginary gallery. It is TJ, your host. Tonight's discussion deals with the aftermath once you have been discarded from the Cluster B monster. I will be referencing, again, Thomas Sheridan's book, Puzzling People, The Labyrinth of the Psychopath, because it's so full of good information. Plus, one of you subscribers out there mentioned that you actually bought the book, and it really is full of insights. My mentioning was that the author doesn't have like a PhD or an MA after his name. However, I've found that some of the insights in this particular book are much more in-depth than some of those that do have those letters after their name. Sheridan tells us that the point comes in a personal relationship with one of these monsters, regardless of whether you've been discarded or you're still together, or if you're caught in the clutches or aftermath of this creature's cluster B control grid structure, such as a terrible boss making your life a living hell, where escape becomes the only option. You have to move on with your life. But first, he tells you that you are allowed to feel angry and emotionally devastated. You, unlike this creature we're talking about, you're only human. Now, of course, it's natural for you to be full of anger and resentment, not to mention dealing with colossal personal humiliation. How could you have loved that creature so deeply, apparently been loved by this creature, in return only to discover that your relationship was simply just another spasm of entertainment for this creature before it moved on to the next dummy? Perhaps you gave your effort and time to support a politician who promised to protect the cancer treatment centers, only to find out later that he was drafting a bill which was fast-tracking to close the cancer center. Maybe you watched him hold the hands of some cancer-ridden woman during chemotherapy, telling the person he'll fight for their cause if he is re-elected. Perhaps you've lived the pain and heartbreak of finding out that your own grandson, your own flesh and blood, has been draining your retirement account and signing deeds of your house over to himself. Now, you may ask yourself, how is this creature, now that the ex-lover or lying, unethical politician or no-good grandson dealing with their cold-blooded ways? How are they dealing with this while you are in deep torment and personal anguish? The answer is, they will be doing just fine. We've all seen the CEOs at the large banks paying themselves massive bonus packages while the public money is being used to bail out the mess that they created. They look chipper and relaxed on television when the morality of such decisions are put to them. What's the problem? They blithely say. They're entitled to a $20 million bonus and can't understand your issue with it. The cronies in the government drafted the legislation to bail them out and pay their bonus packages. Take it up with the politicians, they say. You elected them, didn't you? You hear terms such as quantitative easing, classic psychopath word salad in the context of political/business lingo for we're going to use the public's money to bail out the bankers, and you, the taxpayers, will fund this through your increased personal taxes, suckers. The unfortunate reality is that you're never going to get even with one of these monsters. It just doesn't work like that. You'll only be embarking on a futile meander into the land of frustration and further bewilderment. It could even lead to your death. You must just get out of this creature's labyrinth, and you have to move on. It may seem difficult. It may even seem like it is impossible at times, but it will ultimately benefit you more than just about any other experience life can offer in terms of claiming personal responsibility, not culpability. They are two entirely different things. The creature has deleted you from its life as casually as if they have changed the batteries in their cell phone. That's how much you matter to them. So why would you want to make this worse on yourself? More than anything else, your obsession with obtaining justice over their betrayal will just be a humorous sideline for the creature. They will savor the energy they can suck while watching you in tears and suffering. They will feed on your attention in whatever form it comes. They'll gabble it up as further proof of their great power. Now, if the creature wants to maintain an open link to you, as in that classic line,
"We can still be friends, of course,"
or
"It would break my heart if I never heard from you again,"
bringing a whole new meaning to the term irony, by the way, it will be because there is something about you which they might find useful again at a later stage in case the news supply doesn't work, the news scam fails. Keeping you in your place, compliant to their demands, is a handy reserve fallback system for them. Keep that in mind. It could be your cock, your Virginia, your money, or fame that they may simply need you someday to bail them out of trouble. But it won't be because they have some deep emotional feelings for you. They've never had such feelings to begin with. They want you as a possibly valuable tool for their future. Moving on and moving out. Healing will take time, but you will come out of the other side a wiser and stronger person. And the author believes that if you are aware and accept that your lost love or your former political hero or two-faced coworker was a creature, you will never attract these monsters into your life ever again. Okay, I beg to differ with that one. That's my experience. It's almost like you give off an unconscious signal that you are no longer easy prey for them. Again, I beg to differ. But many people in personal relationships with these creatures attest to the almost psychic quality many of them seem to possess. Targets will hear nothing of the creature for a long time. They gradually heal the wounds they sustained and one day reach that point where they truly feel they've got their life back together. And then, seemingly out of the blue, that creature manages to get back in touch with them, professing love, friendship, or comradeship again. This has been reported to the author by several people who stated beyond doubt that only via an almost psychic ability could this creature have known they were in love with someone new, or enjoying a new life or career or personal success. The creature and the target have been on opposite sides of the world in some cases when this has happened. Sheridan tells us next to forgive yourself. Imagine you've got a hole inside you where other human beings tell you that your heart and soul are supposed to be. Imagine that attempting to make sense of compassion and empathy is the same as trying to encode some kind of foreign language. Imagine going through your entire life completely void of any of the feelings that others claim to experience when describing a great poem, or a love song, or seeing a sunset, or a great painting, and then realize this: the only way a cluster B monster can convince itself that they actually exist is by observing the reactions that they evoke in other people. Where you and I experience love, joy, and sorrow, playfulness, and compassion, and true, genuine creativity, the only thing these creatures have available to them is endlessly refining their ability to manipulate the emotions of others, sucking the life force out of one person then tossing them aside like an empty husk and moving on to the next. If these creatures do experience any kind of feeling, it's probably something close to hunger. An aching, endless hunger for something they can never accurately name. It's just up to you to not wind up as the next item on their menu. Sheridan tells you to always remember that you are everything these creatures can never be. You've got all the emotional gifts and creative loving intelligence that they will never have. This is why you must unlove them ASAP, and very importantly, don't hate them either. Except you can never fix them. You can't love them or heal them into being a whole person. Don't hate them, but don't fall into the trap of thinking you can save them, because you can't. I know, I've tried on several, and you can't. You can never save anybody who doesn't want to be saved. Any attempt to do that will just be more ego-feeding energy to these creatures. They want it all, love or hatred. At a certain point, they simply want your reaction. Any kind will do. Like a little kid or a little baby dog. It wets on the floor to get you to scream at it, or it jumps up and down when it sees you when you come home and wants your attention either way. It wants your attention. To make the beast, the creature, the monster go away, you must starve it into oblivion and decay. But that's just the beginning. You must then take a good look at what you may have felt was lacking in your own life that they sniffed out and zeroed in on. A common emotional energy sucking tactic that these creatures uses at the end of the relationship is to state to the person they deliberately devastated,
I'm so glad that you don't hate me.
This is because they are baiting you to scream out something like,
I do hate you, you mother blinking blink. You broke my heart.
Ignore this tactic. Even if you do want to scream this out, don't if you can help it, because it'll give them their sickening supply. You are pure and loving consciousness with a level of awareness the creature can never attain. Always keep this in mind. Do not be angry at yourself for being its target. It preyed upon you because you were everything they could never be. You can inform and educate others about these types of creatures and how they operate. Being unable to hide and stalk among us is the only thing they fear. One of the reasons these creatures do not like to associate with other creatures like themselves, but they will if they have to, if they need them for something, is because they're instinctively wise to other creatures. They can spot each other across a crowded street. People in relationships with these monsters often remark that they would sometimes see strangers looking at their creature in a curious and odd manner. Later, the relationship ended, and they found out that the oddly staring creatures were other creatures that were checking out the competition.
All this talk about credit. It just gives me horrible memories. Those people harassed me on the phone. I didn't have the money to pay them. That is not my fault, and they had no right to ruin my credit, to call my employer, which at that point was an escort service that went under. They didn't get anywhere there. But still, they tried to stalk me and ruin my life. It's not my fault.
It's not my fault I care about people. They used to call me on the phone. Ugh.
Who is this? I beg your pardon. Credit card. Honey, I think you've got the wrong number. Do not call this number ever again. These sickening bill collectors. Can't they just leave me alone? Who cares if I borrowed that money? I needed it, but I ain't got it, so I ain't gonna pay it. Quit calling her, you fool!
Those cunts would call me, I'm very responsible. It's just my credit score wouldn't agree.
Well, again, I couldn't let you know any of this because of the facade I've been putting on.
And now on to the more serious stuff. Probably the only stuff that you're interested in. I understand that you finally, took you long enough, found that $1,000
bond missing from your dresser. Oh my god, you deserve to have that lost. I took that so long ago and it's long been spent. And I know that you're wanting to press charges against me for it. Well, honey, you're never gonna see that money. I'd change my name. I'd change my gender. They're not gonna find me. So, suck it up. Sorry to be so rude, but you deserve it. How dare you have more money than I did? And yours didn't run out like mine. Your luck didn't run out like mine did. I thought you deserved every bit of the heartbreak I gave to you. Oh my god!
Busted.